Have you ever sensed a quiet inner voice, urging you to confront feelings you've long ignored, only to push it away and feel even more unsettled? I experienced this during a career high point, when success masked a growing emptiness from unaddressed resentment toward my own limitations. Late nights at the office turned into battles with self-doubt, until Carl Jung's shadow psychology showed me that ignoring this darkness was fueling my emotional chaos. Jung believed the shadow, our repressed traits like envy or vulnerability, holds the power to heal when integrated, not shunned. Today, we're uncovering 5 innovative ways to integrate your shadow for emotional healing, drawing from Jung's insights to turn inner turmoil into profound peace. This isn't about suppressing pain, it's about weaving it into your strength. So find a peaceful spot, open your mind, and let's embark on this revealing path. If this awakens something in you, hit that like button, share with someone facing their own shadows, and click the bell to join our exploration of the psyche. The shadow isn't a monster to fear, it's a forgotten part of you yearning for acceptance, and integrating it is the gateway to emotional freedom. Jung described the shadow as the aspects we deny, which gain control when hidden. Emotional healing happens when we bring these into light, creating balance. I integrated my shadow of perfectionism by recognizing it as a defense against failure, leading to greater self-compassion. Jung taught that unintegrated shadows manifest as anxiety or conflict, but acceptance transforms them. Consider, what emotion do you most resist? That's your shadow calling for harmony. What daily trigger hints at your hidden side? Embracing it starts your liberation. Way 1. Identify your shadow through daily shadows, those fleeting moments of irritation or envy that reveal repressed traits. Jung emphasized observing these without judgment to uncover patterns. Start by noting triggers in a journal, like jealousy toward a colleague's success. I identified my shadow envy during a team meeting, tracing it to my own unfulfilled ambitions. A viewer, Grace, spotted her shadow anger in traffic jams, linking it to suppressed frustration from childhood. Ask, what small annoyance recurs in your day? Tracking it unveils your shadow. What moment today stirred unease? It's your first clue to integration. Way 2. Dialogue with your inner darkness using active imagination, a Jungian technique where you visualize and converse with your shadow. Close your eyes, invite your shadow as a figure, and ask what it needs. I dialogued with my shadow self-doubt, learning it sought acknowledgement, easing my anxiety. A viewer, Marcus, conversed with his shadow guilt, finding it stemmed from past regrets, bringing relief. Reflect. What would your shadow say if it could speak? This dialogue builds understanding. What question would you ask your shadow? It's a bridge to emotional peace. Way 3. Express your shadow creatively through art, writing, or movement, allowing it to manifest safely. Jung used painting to explore his psyche, turning abstract feelings into tangible forms. I drew my shadow as a storm cloud, releasing pent-up rage and gaining clarity. A viewer, Lila, wrote poems about her shadow loneliness, transforming isolation into connection. Ponder, what creative outlet could voice your shadow? Expressing it diffuses its power. What form would your shadow take in art? It's your canvas for healing. Way 4. Use relationships as mirrors to reflect your shadow, noticing how others trigger repressed traits. Jung saw interactions as projections of our unconscious. When a friend's criticism stirred my defensiveness, I realized it mirrored my shadow insecurity. A viewer, Theo, saw his partner's complaints as reflections of his own unowned laziness, leading to change. Question: what in others irritates you most? It often reveals your shadow. What relationship dynamic highlights your hidden side? Mirroring turns conflict into insight. Way 5. Harness synchronicity for guidance, those meaningful coincidences that signal shadow integration. Jung viewed synchronicity as the unconscious aligning with reality. After acknowledging my shadow fear, I found a book on courage at a flea market, a synchronicity affirming my path. A viewer, Fiona, experienced a chance conversation echoing her shadow grief, prompting release. Contemplate. What coincidence has appeared lately? It's your shadow's nudge. What sign feels too timely to ignore? Synchronicity illuminates your healing. Archetypes, Jung's universal patterns, are vital allies in shadow integration. The trickster archetype, for example, disrupts to reveal hidden truths, while the wise one offers insight. I invoked the trickster to challenge my rigid shadow habits, sparking creativity. A viewer, Julian, used the mentor archetype to guide his shadow exploration, finding inner wisdom. Reflect. Which archetype could aid your integration? Enlisting it enriches your process. What mythic figure supports your shadow work? It's your guide to balance. Individuation, Jung's quest for wholeness, culminates emotional healing by unifying shadow and self. He said, "The greatest act of love is to never abandon oneself." Integrating your shadow through these ways leads to individuation, where wounds become wisdom. I achieved this by viewing my resentment as a teacher, emerging more resilient. A viewer, Elena, individuated by blending her shadow vulnerability with strength, healing old fears. Ponder what wholeness looks like for you. Individuation makes it real. What integrated self do you envision? It's your emotional renewal. Here are 10 practical exercises inspired by Jung to integrate your shadow and heal emotionally. 1. Trigger tracking. Log daily irritations to spot shadow patterns. 2. Imagination sessions. Visualize dialogues with your shadow weekly. 3. Artistic outlets. Create something weekly that expresses a repressed emotion. 4. Projection reflections. Note how others mirror your shadow in interactions. 5. Coincidence journal. Record synchronicities and their shadow messages. 6. Archetype meditations. Invoke a supportive archetype daily for guidance. 7. Boundary experiments. Practice saying no to shadow-triggered demands. 8. Emotional mapping. Draw a map of your shadow traits and their origins. 9. Mindful pauses. Stop during triggers to breathe and observe. 10. Gratitude shifts. Thank your shadow daily for its lessons. Which exercise excites you? Begin it now to ignite change. Let's go further. The collective unconscious links your shadow to shared human experiences, like the outcast archetype amplifying isolation. Social media can intensify this, but I countered by curating feeds that celebrated vulnerability. What collective story fuels your shadow? Releasing it frees you. Complexes, Jung's emotional clusters, often entangle shadows. My perfectionism complex rooted in early criticism, healed by self-acceptance. Julian traced his anger to a family pattern, finding peace. What complex binds your shadow? Unwinding it restores you. Synchronicity signals integration, like Jung's scarab beetle symbolizing breakthrough. Fiona's book Find After Shadow work affirmed her path. What synchronicity is signaling your progress? Track it to trust your journey. The persona hides shadows to conform, but dropping it reveals truth. Jung critiqued masks that stifle growth. Elena shed her tough persona, allowing shadow fears to heal. What mask conceals your shadow? Letting it fall empowers you. Individuation harmonizes shadows with light, as Jung's mandala symbolizes. Theo drew mandalas to integrate his grief, finding balance. What harmony awaits your shadow? It's your emotional symphony. More exercises. 11. Nature shadow walks. Explore shadows in the woods for insights. 12. Myth reenactment. Act out a healing archetype story. 13. Release ceremonies. Burn shadow symbols for closure. 14. Compassion letters. Write to your shadow with kindness. Let me share a final story. Elena carried a wound of unworthiness from criticism, feeling emotionally numb. Through Jung's shadow integration, she dialogued with her inner critic, expressed it through sculpture, and saw synchronicities like a supportive mentor, leading to emotional vitality. Her healed self now guides others. What wound are you ready to integrate? Imagine a life where shadows fuel your light. Challenge. Dialogue with one shadow emotion tonight. Share in the comments, what did it say? Like if you're integrating, subscribe for more, and let's heal together. Your shadow awaits your embrace, and I'll see you soon.